Imagine yourself communicating with a difference. Pandimensional Solutions helps you do this. Whether live spectator events, taped broadcasts, or real-time audience-engaging programs, you can benefit immediately from the tools Pandimensional Solutions will share with you. Do you want to make a difference? Contact us at pandimensional.com. Welcome, everyone, to this edition of the State of Greater Western New York Report. Join us each episode as we discuss fantastic topics ranging from history to science to the strange and the wonderful, as well as the treasured spirit with which our region has infused America. We challenge you to consider all things Greater Western New York, from our region's very beginnings to how it inspires, how it empowers, and why it is so admired. Here's the host of the State of Greater Western New York Report, Chris Carosa.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of the State of Greater Western New York Report. I'm Chris Carosa, and each week we provide exciting stories. This week will be about how small businesses impact your local communities. We'll start right off with our first guest this week. She's the Downtown Coordinator for Livingston County. Her name is Louise Wadsworth. Louise, hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. So, Louise, tell us a little bit about what you do and how you do it.
So I'm the Downtown Coordinator for Livingston County, New York. I've been in this position since 2005. I work with all 9 of our small communities. They're all small villages, about 5,000 population each. And I work with all 9 of our downtown villages. And in that role, I'm working to help our businesses be more successful and to create vibrant downtowns.
Tell us a little bit more about that. Why are small, locally owned businesses especially better suited to help keep the small towns and villages, maybe not so small towns and villages, help keep them vibrant and active? You know, what role do they play?
So when you think of your community, most people think about their downtown. So even a visitor coming to your community, the first thing they're going to look at is the downtown. And then when you think about what's in the downtown, it's really dependent on those businesses, those small businesses, those mom and pop shops, most of them are. That's what makes your community vibrant and alive. It's why people want to come to your community. It's the true reflection of your community is what are those businesses on your main street and how well are they doing? How much are they open? What's the curb appeal of those businesses? And those are the things we really work with our businesses on because we want them to be successful. We can't promote our downtowns. We can't help them other than to create successful businesses on that Main Street or the downtown district.
I know that Livingston County in particular is very active in promoting its local businesses. You offer contests, you offer all sorts of methods to maybe provide some resources and also promotions. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the specifics that you do with regards to that?
So I really I think that Livingston County has been really amazing at supporting their downtown districts. We have a thing called the Downtown Partnership, which has been established back in 2011, where each village contributes into a fund, $4,000. So they're taking that money and contributing it to downtown programming, basically. One of our most successful programs is a thing called First Impressions. And this is a program that supports any first impression you might have of a business. So it's a 50-50 grant up to $5,000, and it can help a business owner or a building owner improve their facade, add an awning, add signage, add lighting, either inside their store windows or on the outside of the building. They can add flags, they can add benches, they can add planters. We also have added in this program the digital first impressions. So your digital presence now is so important. We want every business to have a website and to hopefully have some kind of online sales component. So our grant funding will help fund that, as well as we also fund now public art and streetscape improvements. So the municipality can apply for benches or trash receptacles or planters, trees, and public art, murals, sculptures, even lighting in alleys, that kind of thing. So we really believe in the downtown district and creating a place that people want to come to.
Roughly how many downtown districts are there in Livingston County? That could be villages or towns. Probably a dozen or so, right? Or maybe a
So
little
we have
more.
nine villages, and they all have a downtown district. Our smallest is Leicester, which has only about 4 commercial buildings, but we've done a lot of work there. And then our largest is Geneseo,
Hmm.
which has the college and is a very vibrant downtown.
Can you give us
But
maybe a couple of examples in terms of specific businesses? It's okay to use their names, just to show people how they might have applied, say, some of this grant money, what they might have done with it, and maybe how it turned out.
Okay, so Leicester is a great example. Like I said, only 4 commercial buildings, and basically there was one business there 3 years ago. We had a program called Dreamovate, where we incentivize new business owners coming into our community with a business that we didn't already have. So with that program, we were able to get a trail guide outfitter type business to go into Leicester. So that was called Trail Otter. And they're in a building that we use New York Main Street grant funds to totally renovate. It was a derelict building about to be torn down. With New York Main Street funding, we were able to totally renovate that building, create the commercial space that Trail Otter went into. Then we also created 2 residential units above that space. So that building went from a detriment to the community to a vibrant space now. They have beautiful signage. They have, boats out front and hammocks and flags. So when you drive by, you just want to stop there. And it's a great location for them because people can come there and get information about going to Letchworth State Park or visit our lakes or other recreational things that you can do in our county. So Trail Otter took advantage of our sign programs. The owner of the building took advantage of facade programs and the New York Main Street grant, all of which we helped facilitate.
Now, how do you get the word out to the local businesses? Do you work with the smaller chambers of commerce, or is there a large chamber of commerce within Livingston County? How do businesses find out about this?
Well, there is a countywide chamber, but also I'm the downtown coordinator for all these communities, and I keep a very detailed record of all the buildings in my district. So the 9 districts, each community has a downtown district, and I track the building owners and the businesses and the business owners in those communities, and I have a database that I send information out to them directly whenever we have a new program. Just recently with our First Impressions program, which we just announced, we have $50,000 that we can award to different building or business owners in the downtowns this year. We just announced that program, and as part of that, we showed a video that we had produced about how to increase your sales by curb appeal. So it's a 40-minute video, very, very fast-paced, and it's by Roger Brooks, who's a nationally known consultant on this subject, and he talks all about how you can increase your sales by curb appeal, like flags and planters and benches and lighting, and he shows specific examples. So that was very encouraging for businesses to see that.
Now, how much of that is able to be done by the business as opposed to, say, the community itself? Like I go to a lot of villages and towns around around our area, and I noticed that there are planters, there are flags, and it seems that the municipalities are the ones that are putting them up. But is the video saying that individual businesses can also do this?
Exactly. Yeah. The video talks not only about what the municipality can do, but also what businesses can do for themselves right in front of their storefront. Even creating displays out front is really important for people when they're driving by, because everybody's in their cars. What's going to make somebody stop, want to get out of their car and walk in your store? He talks about keeping the door open, even if you can, is much more welcoming. The type of signage you have, blade signs. He talks about blade signs and how those are important for when you walk down the street, that you see a lot of activity. You see that there's a lot of businesses in a community. That keeps you walking down the street. Awnings are a thing we really encourage because they make your storefront pop. They are pedestrian friendly. They add shade. So awnings are something I really recommend for storefronts whenever we can.
Now,
And that's something we do fund.
is this video available for anyone to see? Can they go to your website and look at it?
It is on our website right now under the First Impressions program.
Okay, great.
We have a lot of great resources on our website. It's called growliveco.com. And there's a lot of great resources on there.
I've been to that website. Yes, it's very good. In terms of other counties, now I know you may be less familiar with them, but since our audience encompasses 17 counties and presumably there are small businesses in all of them that are interested in growing and helping their communities, how might they approach their own counties or towns or villages to do the sort of things that Livingston County is doing, to see what their counties have to offer?
Well, first of all, in most cases, Chamber of Commerce is a good place to go, and to encourage business owners to take classes or go to workshops whenever possible to learn the new skills that you need these days in business. There's so many things that are different than, say, 20 years ago. Now you have to know how to do social media. You have to market totally different than you used to be able to do. These are all skills that you need to keep getting brushed up on. And I think we do have business assistance classes that we do. And I think that's really important to keep working on that. We also have a program where we work with our college, SUNY Geneseo, called Adopt a Business, where we pair students with business owners to help them with their social media, to assess their online presence, and then to help them manage that somewhat. But that's something everybody struggles with, and that's something that all the business owners need. Your tourism office also, I think, is a good place to go to, because they should be promoting your local businesses. Downtown is so important to the visitor. When people come to your downtown, what is their first impression? We just brought a national consultant, Roger Brooks, here, and he did an assessment of our whole county from the digital standpoint before he even got here, but then also as he drove around our county, what was his experience? Were the stores open? Were they inviting? How did you feel when you were walking down the street? All these things make such an impression, and we slowly pick away at that curb appeal and making things more exciting for the visitor.
Very good. Louise, thank you very much. You've been a wonderful guest, and I'm sure we'll probably find a reason to have you on again in the future. Any last words you want to impart to our small business audience?
Come visit our downtowns, and I'd be happy to show anybody around if they want to come get a tour.
Excellent.
And see some of the work we've done.
Thank you. All right, well, we'll take a break now, and when we come back, we'll have a new guest talking about more interesting things for small businesses.
Through the mists of time, nature and man have both created and buried treasures beyond the imagination. With the ages, these riches slowly dissolve into mere myths until they are forever forgotten. But there are those brave souls who tirelessly cling to the truth, ever seeking to discover the undiscovered. To reveal what has always been there. To uncover the hidden gems of a land thought forsaken, but loved by millions. 50 Hidden Gems of Greater Western New York. Discover the secrets in your own backyard. Buy your copy now at 50hiddengems.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to the State of Greater Western New York Report. I'm Chris Carosa, your host, and with me right now is Gretchen Hanchett. She's the Executive Director of the Allegany County Chamber of Commerce. Gretchen, tell us a little bit more about what you do and maybe how you do it.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. And I am the Executive Director of the Greater Allegany County Chamber of Commerce and Office of Tourism. And some of the things that we do is we administer tourism for Allegany County. I also sit on a town planning board and Southern Tiers Economic Development Board. I'm president of that, and Workforce and Development Board. So quite a few things I do that kind of encompass, what we're talking about today. And before I took this job, I ran a business center with Accord, and entrepreneurship was one of our main topics and really fits right into the small business that we have.
Well, let's dive right into the small business aspect. Can you maybe give me a couple of examples on why small businesses have an advantage over the larger companies when it comes to supporting their hometowns, why that's an advantage not only for the small businesses, but perhaps for their hometowns too?
Well, one big reason is small businesses are definitely a lot more flexible. When there's a cut, when they have to change a new product, or when a large firm goes out of business, it's detrimental to a community, and a lot of jobs are lost. And Allegany County really is built on small businesses. So small businesses are definitely more flexible. Small businesses also foster entrepreneurship, and that really is the way that we are moving. And our small businesses provide that character and individuality to communities where sometimes your larger manufacturing companies don't have that, so they benefit that. More specifically, if you spend $100 in your local business, $68 of it stays within your local economy. So that is definitely a benefit to small businesses in our communities. And our local businesses tend to support each other. If a restaurant needs a cleaning service or an accountant or so forth, it's a multiplying effect that our small businesses have with working with each other.
You made me think of a question as you're describing the entrepreneurial aspect of things. Have you noticed maybe over the last year that there has been a greater amount of entrepreneurial activity with maybe more people, say, working from home, thinking of creative ways to generate revenue? Have you seen that?
Yes, we're seeing a large growth in entrepreneurship. And I think it's probably the way that business will start running in the future. Doing business online, doing business from home, doing business out in nature, which is what we have plenty of in our rural area around here. 56% of small businesses employees are happier working for a smaller business, where only 38% in a larger business have that same score. And from 2000 to 2017, 8.4 million jobs were created in the United States, and that's a fact from the Chamber of Commerce. So small businesses are growing. Small businesses are more flexible, and small businesses are really a little bit more resilient in this day and age.
The idea that small businesses can help support local communities. Do you have maybe a couple of examples that you can share? And don't you could be as specific as you'd like, where small businesses have come together either to support themselves or maybe to support the community with which they reside?
In rural areas, small businesses are the heart of supporting other businesses. East Wind Nursery, last week, they sent out carnations to each person getting a Meals on Wheels, and that certainly shows community support. Giant Food Mark is heavily involved in the United Way, as many of our other businesses are too. Otis Eastern Services, they have a youth employment program in the summertime where they pay youth to do community service work throughout the county. So there's all kinds. Small businesses volunteer, they donate, they help sports teams, they're involved in small festivals, and 52% of small business owners are involved in community events, donating, and 90% donate to local causes. So that's pretty important to our communities. Building a reputation of their business through volunteer work is a perfect way for small businesses to network and to advertise. They become part of the community. So it really isn't just about donations with small businesses. They can become involved in community knowledge, passing along that. A lot of them will talk at colleges, at schools, at other events, high schools, fueling entrepreneurship, because quite honestly, through the pandemic that we've been through, our entrepreneurs have risen above the bar in keeping things going, being flexible, learning how to do business new ways. Our restaurants did more pickup and deliveries, and really humbling to see how resilient our small businesses are.
Yes, restaurants especially. Our show last week focused on how the restaurants have pivoted during this pandemic, and we had guests on from New York State Restaurant Association to tell us all about
Good.
that. What I was wondering is, within Allegheny County now, if you're starting a small business and you want to get more involved, who do they talk to? Do they go? Is there a local chamber that they start with, or do they go right to the Greater Livingston County Chamber of Commerce? How do they approach that?
There's several different ways they can go, and they would come to the Greater Allegheny County Chamber of Commerce. We also have, which is where I worked before this, was the Business Center through Accord Corporation. They do entrepreneurship programs. They help them build a business plan. Our chamber also provides different workshops online. We also have Incubator Works out of Alfred. So there's several different sources in supporting new businesses and helping businesses get started.
Now, from the point of view of small businesses in other counties, generally, what advice would you give them as far as who to contact, the types of organizations or associations to contact to help them support their own communities?
I would most definitely suggest that they contact their Chamber of Commerce. If their Chamber of Commerce doesn't have the resources that they need, they certainly know where to send them. And it's a good place to start in starting your business, because that really is why we're here, to support our businesses and do what we can to help them grow. And you mentioned tourism and how important tourism is to communities. Those are tourism businesses go across the line. They are restaurants, they are hotels, they are Uber drivers. They hit so many different aspects. One of the things that the chamber did was start a program called A to D, and it's an online training program. It's kind of customer service. Louise was talking about, the downtown and putting out awnings and showing up so you look better. This right here, excuse me, helps our tourists when they come in, and our businesses to go through a training program where they know how to work with people when they come in, how to send them to another business, and how to promote Allegheny County. Excuse me.
Do you think, and this is another thing that I've seen recently, that there's been some talk, say,
Excuse
like
me.
from that's okay, from the AAA, say, of Greater Western New York, the various AAAs, where they're encouraging people to do drive-by vacations. Do you see that maybe perking up, at least within Allegheny
Excuse me.
County, in terms of people who aren't taking airplanes to go some places? Maybe they're taking their car and going to see a natural site or a historic site. You seen that?
Most definitely. We've been doing that ourselves. We have been out at some of the gems in our area in the Western New York Wilds that show some of the trails. We've done video on the trails so they can virtually go along and visit some of the areas that we have in Allegany County. So, and we are the great outdoors here. You know, one of the businesses that really thrived through this pandemic is our campgrounds. They're up 30 and 40% in some areas because people are vacationing a little bit different. And small businesses can accommodate that change a lot quicker than a large company.
Yes, they most certainly can. Well, are there any parting words of wisdom that perhaps you would like to share with our audience before we end today's show?
Keep on keeping on because we are going to make it. I see business growing. I see new opportunities for entrepreneurs and for our small businesses, and we are here to support you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Gretchen, and thank you all for listening and watching today's broadcast. We're here every week at 1 o'clock on Thursdays. You can join us and be notified by joining stateof.greaterwesternnewyork.com. Sign up for that, and we'll send you the link to the Zooms where it's being broadcast. Or if you'd like, you can see the rebroadcast both on Facebook and on YouTube at 1:30 on Sundays. And definitely give us a like there or anything else. So thank you again, Gretchen. Thank you, Louise, who's off camera. And we'll see you all next week. This is Chris Carosa saying bye-bye for now.